Hey guys, welcome back to Deep Shift Labs. My name is Krishna and I want to introduce you to Python. This is the second part in the video series, and in this video we're going to be looking at variables, all types of variables in Python. So without further ado, let's get started. So here we have our two Python files. We created these in our previous video. If you don't know how to use Replit, please go check out the previous video. It's a great starter. And in this video, we're just going to be messing around with variables. So there are three main components to making a variable in Python. You need a variable name. So let's call our variable just for namesake. And then we have to set it equal to something. And now there are so many different options we have here. Now Python doesn't require you to explicitly mention what variable it is, what type it is. It'll automatically figure that out. So here we could type 5, for example. And now this is an integer. An integer is any value, positive or negative, that doesn't have decimals. So this could be 5, -9, -900, 1,000, anything. Now the second variable type you could set here is a string. A string is a series of characters or a string of characters. That is done with a quotation mark, and then you could type, your string. So maybe like hello person, something like that. And this holds these series of characters. Another variable type you could do is a float. A float is just like an integer, except you can now use decimal values. So it could now not just be 5, but 5.6 or 5.67 or maybe 3.14159. Or it could be negative numbers as well. Who knows? Now, if you're familiar with C programming, you might know doubles. And those are just longer digits. Like if you have like 15, 16 digits in your number, then you would use doubles. It holds more numbers, I guess. The easier way to explain it. Python automatically figures these out for you. You don't have to worry about it. Now, if you have a variable, a mystery variable, let's create a mystery variable and set it equal to some value. Let's say we don't know what type of variable this is. How would we figure that out? So, as we said in the previous video, we can use the print statement to send things to the command line. So, of course, we could just type mystery here, and basically, it's going to substitute mystery here for the actual value of that variable. And so now, if we run this, we get that value of that variable. But another thing we could do to figure out the type of this variable is to quite obviously type type. So the type, and then of course, note type is a function. And now how we run functions is the same way we run print. It would be the name of the function, parentheses, and then whatever arguments is what we call it, arguments it requires. So type is a function. Its name is type. It has the parentheses, as we said. And then in the parentheses, we have the argument. Now type requires one argument, which is the variable whose type you want to figure out, in which case it's mystery. So now let's run it again. And it says the class of type integer. Now what if we add a decimal, right? Something like that. Run it again. And look, now it says it's a float. What if we add string to it? So hello, right? Let's run this. Beautiful. It says it's a string. Now, Python doesn't, the way of saying string in Python is str. We don't actually spell out the whole string, but you get the idea. There's another variable type. It's not as commonly used in Python as strings and characters, which is a new type, are pretty much identical. But I guess you could do it with single quotes, and you type the single character. And as I said, there's no real differentiation between strings and characters in Python, but I guess if you want to get really technical, you could call this a character. The last variable type, which quite honestly isn't used all too much in Python, is a Boolean. A Boolean is a true or false statement. And the way to write this is all lowercase, true. Or, my mistake, capital T. If we do this, then this mysteries is going to be set to true. And if we run this, it's going to say bool. And of course, false is the same way, capital F, like that. And that would also be a bool. And so, I hope with this tutorial you got a basic understanding on how to make variables in Python. In the next video, we're going to be messing around more with variables and see different things we could do with them, like adding them, subtracting them, appending them, and things like that. So stay tuned.